What an incredible race!
It is unbelievable!
Hello and a warm welcome to Hamburg in northern Germany for one of the most eagerly awaited events of the ITU World Triathlon Series. In just a few minutes' time, we'll bring you the elite women's race live. And remember, fast and furious racing this weekend is the sprint format, not the Olympic distance. And sometimes that can give us a few surprise athletes on the podium. At present, Katie Zaferes leads the way at the top of the standings, but world champion Laura Lindemann is back from injury, and she won this race 12 months ago. So all set for some dramatic action. The weathermen say it's going to stay dry, a little bit cloudy, but we can't complain. We started the quest way back in March in Abu Dhabi. Bermuda, the first time we've been there. Yokohama, a regular stop on tour. Leeds was our previous race. Now we're in Hamburg. A couple in Canada to come, Edmonton and Montreal. And we finish up with the grand final on the Gold Coast in Australia in September. Well, lots of reasons why this is always one of the most popular events in the triathlon calendar. The sheer beauty of the city being one of them. Just magnificent architecture, natural surroundings. That's the City Hall you saw there. Astonishing building. It's actually the 6th biggest city in the European Union, Hamburg. It doesn't feel like it. The port is a huge part. Parks, lakes, rivers, everywhere you look. And this is where the most talented triathletes have descended this weekend. 1 lap to swim, 750 meters, and then they'll go out onto the bikes. It's a 21-kilometer ride, which on this course means 6 laps in total. It's flat pretty much throughout, but narrow in places, and we have seen riders come to grief here in the past, even when it's not wet. Technically demanding, lots of changes of direction, and some pretty tight turns to negotiate as well. Out onto the run, 5 kilometers over a couple of laps. There were 2 180-degree turns on each circuit, just to keep them honest. And on a flat surface, it's tarmac throughout. Quick times almost guaranteed. 750 meters in the water, 21 kilometers in the saddle, and 5 kilometers on the run. Well, if you're a regular viewer, we've had all kinds of conditions here in the past few years. You can see those clouds up there. They haven't dropped anything yet. The weathermen say they won't. Temperature around about 20 degrees, which is 70 Fahrenheit in old money. But whatever the weather does, it does not affect the number of locals that come out to support this race. Every weekend in Hamburg there's something, whether it's sport, music, cuisine, culture, whatever, and the triathlon is really well supported since we started here way back in 2002 in an old World Cup race. I mentioned the port is a huge part of the city, so many employed one way and another. We are going to see some sparks fly this afternoon, I reckon, in this women's race. It's the 2nd busiest port in Europe. And the big question is, who's going to be holding up that trophy in about an hour's time, because there are 3 or 4 different candidates. Here's how we currently stand. So Zaferes in the lead. The lead, as you can see, is about 250 odd points. In behind Katie, the likes of Vicky Holland, Rachel Klammer, Flora Duffy, Takahashi, Sato, even Kirsten Kasper, potentially poised to go up rather than down that list after this race this afternoon. Flora Duffy, the big name, of course, who has won the world title over the past couple of years, missed the race in Leeds through injury. Still a little bit of a question mark about her fitness. The race officials, there are more in the water than usual, just to make sure that there's fair play during the swim. Don't want to see anyone being dunked or unfairly impeded. We can disqualify a triathlete should the indiscretion be serious enough. There they are. Here's the top 10. My name's Trevor Harris. Alongside me is former junior world champion Kirsten Sweetland. Katie Zaferes. Kirsten's had a really consistent start to the season, and she better look out. The likes of Vicky Holland behind her, of course, won in Leeds.
Yeah, Vicky Holland won the last race in Leeds, like you said. She's our current Olympic bronze medalist, one to watch. Rachel Klammer as well had her first win at the season opener this year in Abu Dhabi. And Flora Duffy, she's always such a dominant figure over the past few years. Question mark over her coming back from injury.
Yeah, good to see a couple of Japanese in the top 6, and of course it's good timing for the likes of Takahashi and Yuka Sato, because the Olympics in Tokyo in 2 years' time, so they need to come into form. Kirsten Kasper had that really frustrating run of 4th place finishes, including a disputed effort where she got a penalty she shouldn't have had in Abu Dhabi. Strong American team too, including Taylor Spivey.
Yeah, she's a strong all-around athlete, definitely one here to watch today. And then we've got Laura Lindemann. She's going to be the crowd favorite, racing for Germany. She had a podium here last year.
Yeah, Laura Lindemann finishing 3rd 12 months ago. Well, there's Vicky Holland, who produced just about the perfect race in Leeds, and you could almost hear that it was more relief, I think, than elation for Vicky after she won in Yorkshire.
Yeah, I mean, it's as close as she gets to home soil, I think, and so to be able to put down a performance like that in front of a home crowd is something that every athlete dreams about.
It was her first win for 3 years on the WTS Tour. Now, Flora Duffy. I said still a few question marks about her fitness. She had that foot problem which kept her out of the race in Great Britain. A big day for her today to prove that fitness and prove that, you know, she can still beat everybody else.
It is, and if anyone can do it, it's her. She's a confident athlete, and rightly so. I think, you know, we may see a breakaway from her as we have so many times in the past, but maybe more now so than ever with the question mark over her run fitness.
Yeah, it will be fascinating to see how Flora plays this today. We'll find out soon enough. That's Yuka Takahashi. Yeah, I say it's good to see, though, the Japanese, 2 of them now in the top 6.
And consistently, yeah, their presence has been, you know, over the years, they've always had a number of strong women, and it's really cool to see almost every event, Japan has a full women's team.
Kirsten Kasper, who I was mentioning, had that run of 4th place. She's such a talented athlete. I think it's a credit to her, the way she kind of bounced back after the disappointment of Abu Dhabi right at the start of the season.
She is, yeah. She was, you know, very humble about that. You know, athletes could have dealt differently with that sort of situation, but she just put her head down and got back to work. And I hear she's in great form again now for this race.
She's a top swimmer too, so we can expect her to be among the front runners in the water, along with the likes of Duffy and Zaferes.
Yeah, we've got Jess Learmonth here as well, who we'd expect to lead out of the water.
Always a lot of pressure on the home hope. We mentioned Lindemann. They've had the women's race after the men because she's the best German athlete at the moment, men or women. So not easy to kind of have that burden on your shoulders.
It's not. And I notice in Germany especially, they put that kind of emphasis on their athletes, but it can be taken in either sense. I mean, you can take it as support. It doesn't always have to feel like so much pressure. She does have a lot of people backing her here today.
Andrea Hewitt, 36 years young, still going strong. We've only seen her once all season, 7th in Abu Dhabi. She rarely runs a bad race. Even after a poor swim sometimes, she picks it up on the bike and the run.
She amazes me. I mean, she's been racing at the top of the game for over a decade now. I think some of her stats are something like 30 podiums out of 50-something or 60 races. She's always right up in the top, and you can never count her out. 20
podiums, so 60-second start and 5 wins for Andrea Hewitt. Vicky Holland there, who won the 3rd WTS race of her career in Yorkshire a few weeks ago. It's her 40th start on the tour. And as you mentioned, she is an Olympic medalist. And certainly she'll be raring to go to get another one of those in Tokyo in a couple of years. She had that famous sprint with a then housemate, Non Stanford, for that medal.
That's right. Yeah, my parents were actually sitting near Non's parents during that sprint finish.
Rachel Klammer. Now, Rachel had a really good race in Leeds, and of course I didn't think would suit her, but she proved me wrong, which wouldn't be the first time. And of course she had that landmark victory in Abu Dhabi on her 50th WTS start, first win.
That's right. Yeah, that's got to give her confidence, and she's been swimming well this year.
Just proves you should never, ever give up in this sport. Lindemann might be having a few butterflies in the stomach as we prepare for the start. I think she'd probably accept that the sprint distance is better for her than the Olympic distance at the moment, so it could be set up well for her.
Yeah, being a young athlete, that's generally a common theme.
It isn't the warmest afternoon. See Rachel just shivering a little bit there. The crowd have all got Well, the sensible ones have got coats on. Vicky's still got the T-shirt on. Well, there's consistency for you. Third in Leeds, second Yokohama, third in Bermuda. That's why she's top of the standings. She's only ever won one WTS race, and that was here. So there is a kind of horses for courses element to triathlon. It just gives you that extra little bit of confidence to come back to a venue where you've won before.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I don't think there's anyone on the circuit that's more consistent than she is. Unless she's out on the bike or has some sort of a crash or mechanical, you can pretty much count on her to be on the podium.
Just missed out on a medal in the Commonwealth Games, Vicky, as you could see. But confidence completely rejuvenated by that victory in Leeds. If there was an award for gutsiest triathlete, I'd have Katie Zaferes at the top of my list. That race in Leeds where they tried to drop her on the bike, I think every lap, like 6-7 laps, and they did, and then she came back at them 6 or 7 times. Astonishing, really.
Yeah, it is. She's a gritty athlete, and that's what it takes. And, you know, she really embodies that saying, it's not over till it's over.
We're talking of grit. Laura Duffy won't think twice about riding solo for 20 kilometres. We've seen her do it for 40, let alone 20 in Olympic distance races.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that here today.
So the top 4 adjacent on the podium.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a tactical game of where you choose your position on the pontoon. Sometimes being called out first it almost makes it a little bit harder because you don't know where the rest of the people are going to line up. But in this course, there's no real clear advantage to either side of the podium, or pontoon, sorry.
So there's Lindemann. She's going to get the biggest cheer of the day and will get massive support from what we reckon around about 250,000 fans dispersed across the course this afternoon. And where the swim is, it's just so easy for the fans just to walk across. They can either go towards the finish area where there's a big TV screen, or they can find themselves a vantage point pretty much anywhere along the bike course.
Yeah, this is a really spectator-friendly course, and for a good thing because there's 250,000 of them out there, like you said.
Frintova of the Czech Republic, 9th time here in Hamburg. No one's been here as much. And one of the other stats that screamed out at me, Kirsten, Ayueda today is racing in her 192nd ITU race. I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
That doesn't surprise me. It's funny, I ran into her in the lobby today, and we both looked equally surprised to see each other. She's still going strong after all these years.
It's her 62nd start today in a WTS race, which is exactly the same as Andrea Hewitt.
Number 28 from Australia.
Yuko Takahashi.
Number 29 from Australia. Charlotte McShane. Number 30 from Russia. Elena Danilova.
You probably hear in the background the announcer just letting the crowd know as the athletes take their place on the podium. It's a big field today, 55 women. And the one we haven't mentioned is the woman wearing number 56, Olympic champion from London, Nicola Spirig. Great to see her back.
It is. She's definitely a dark horse here today. I recently heard that she got a silver medal at the Swiss Time Trial Championships, so she'll be ready to ride herself back into the field no matter what happens on the swim.
Sophia Sala just going through, another German that the crowd will obviously support today. Seiger from Japan. Spirig will actually be the last woman out onto the podium, so she'll take the only remaining place. Kretz of Canada. Vancouveren from Australia, who can perform very consistently, and Gillian Backhouse as well. Remember Gillian Backhouse famously, when she got on the podium in Edmonton a few years ago, was almost too emotional to speak to me. I don't know if it was me, but she was very, very emotional. It just showed how much it meant to her.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. She's put in so many hard hours, and something like that, when it doesn't come around very often, means a lot to the athlete.
There's Spirig just going through.
It's an unfamiliar position for her.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably say, you know, Spirig's stronger discipline would be the Olympic distance rather than the sprint. But she's such a good biker and an excellent runner. You just never know.
Yeah, you don't. You can never count her out either. I mean, she's come back from large breaks in competition before and jumped right back onto the podium.
So about 30 seconds to go until this women's race is underway. It's a pretty late start, actually, local time, just coming up 20 to 7 in the evening. Now, we saw a full start by 2 of the men earlier. Don't want to give 10 seconds away here. Got to wait for the gun.
On your mark.
That looked okay, far as I could see. And a large field here as we begin to enjoy potentially the Flora Duffy comeback show, but the likes of Zaferes, Holland and others will be doing their damnedest to stop her.
You can see how quickly some of the athletes have already created a bit of a separation there.
Learmonth already out front, already.
Not
It's literally
surprising.
taken about 5 strokes.
That is such a skill.
And the thing about Jess Learmonth, Kirsten, that really impresses me, apart from the fact she's a terrific swimmer, but her bike skills and her running skills have come on to the extent that, you know, when she has a top-class swim, especially in an Olympic distance event, she puts herself in medal contention.
She does. She's really rapidly learned those things and climbed the ranks, and it's really impressive.
Learmonth is nearest to camera. We've also got the likes of, looks like Hauser from Austria is also prominent early on.
Katie's right up there as well.
Yep, Zaferes. Looks like Vicky Holland on Zaferes' immediate left.
She had a really great swim in Leeds last time as well.
She did. She was kind of in that really awkward position just off the leaders, but in front of those chasing, and she was kind of in no man's land for a little bit, but obviously made light of it in the end. Can confirm it was a clean start, so no time penalties. Lopez of Brazil is the woman just kind of center of your screen in about 4th place at the moment. We've used to seeing her produce excellent swims.
And you can see she's on the hip of the athlete in front of her, who I believe is Hauser.
I think
Germany?
it's Hauser, yeah.
A really tactical move from her. If the athlete is a little bit too fast, the athlete in front of you, it's a really good move to swim on their hip. It slows the athlete down a little bit and makes it that much easier for the person drafting.
Just trying to see who that is on the far side. It's either Kretz or Kingma. I would suspect it's more likely to be Kingma, but we'll see soon enough. It's just the 1 lap, remember, in the water, so just the 750 meters to swim, which they'll do in around about 9 minutes or so. And the key always is just to look to see if there is any kind of separation. As we look at the start again, almost like a synchronized swimming send-off, that wasn't it? 56 women together. So they've hit the first buoy. Of course, it's no problem for the first 3 or 4, but then after that, and you can probably tell me more about this, Kirsten, it's very easy to get stood up, shoved aside.
Yeah, you
and
can see
elbow in your face.
there's a little bit of an altercation there between a British athlete and someone else. But yeah, that becomes really common. It gets very congested, and athletes start to get a bit of anxiety, and you know, you don't want to be held underwater. That's not a natural thing, and so people tend to make moves that maybe they don't mean to do. So that's why we've got those kayaks there, making sure that everyone's playing fair.
I think Takahashi was one of those who suffered, and also it looked to me as though Ashley Gentle might have got a bit of a bang. Gentle is one of those athletes that if she could actually put together a half-decent swim, I think she's a live contender, because we know how good her running is, but so often she's just playing catch-up out the water.
Yeah, I'd really love to see her at the front of the field off the bike. We haven't had a chance to see her and Flora run head-to-head, and yeah, she's a class runner, top of the field. looks pretty tightly bunched here. There's no definite breaks, but it's definitely easier for those top 2-3 girls that you see there with no one beside them.
Yeah, we'd normally expect to see Flora pretty near the front. If you're looking out for her swim cap, she's number 4. Second place is now Summer Cook, and that's no surprise. We've seen Cook put in some terrific swimming performances in the past. She does tend to struggle on the bike, but today we've got a very flat course. It's only half the Olympic distance, which, you know, I remember the race that she won was a sprint. She won in Edmonton a few years back, Summer.
Yeah, the interesting factor here will be the amount of twists and turns on the course. We'll see how her technical skills have developed. She is getting that much more experience. She's part of a young crop of talent coming out of the U.S., including Taylor Spivey, who also really shows no weaknesses.
It just seems like a never-ending production line, the American women's team.
It is, and you know, they always seem to produce strong swimmers. You hardly ever see a weak swimmer come out of the U.S., which sets them up for success in almost every race.
And they kind of changed their whole collegiate system, which has worked out fantastically for them. Not on the men's side. And now I was talking to Barry Siff a few months back, the head of the American Triathlon Federation. He was saying they're basically ripping apart the whole men's form book, so to speak, and they're going to start going to try and produce as many top-class men as they have done women, which is a tough ask because there are 5 or 6 of the women.
Yeah, that's scary for the rest of the world.
The Americans, of course, who have won the mixed team relay here in Hamburg before. They also won the mixed team relay earlier this season in Nottingham. So they're going to be big contenders tomorrow, and that is a race we are bringing you live. It's about 2 o'clock local time here in Germany, so you can find out what time it is wherever you are in the world. It's not a massive amount of separation, but
it looks strangely spaced out to me, like horizontally. The women are keeping their distance from each other.
Because it's like single file at the front.
Yeah, that usually means that it's a quick pace when you see it strung out like that, but it's an interesting formation we have here where it's strung out a bit for the first 5 or 6 athletes, and then we've got a row across of also 5 or 6 athletes, and that tends to be a lot slower, so they have to be careful swimming in that sort of order.
That's Duffy. You can just see that red cap just bobbing up and down. So she is right in touch.
You'd expect to see a strong swim from her because generally we find that the swim and run kind of work against each other, and if she's been off running for a while, you'd expect her swim to be lifted a little bit.
Is there sometimes a confidence issue, Kirsten, after an injury? And obviously you've been in that situation, not with the Lyme disease, but previously, where you've had an injury, you come back, you're just not quite sure, maybe mentally, if your body's going to stand up to a competitive race like this.
Yeah, especially on a timeline like hers. I believe she's only just started running a couple days ago, so mentally that is really tough, but also she is a very mentally tough athlete, and if anyone can sort of put that aside and just race the race, it'll be Flora.
So 150 meters left. They're going to go through the tunnel, which is about 40 meters long. Must be a little bit strange when you suddenly swim into darkness.
Yeah, it is a little bit. One of the other factors people don't really think about is that those concrete walls hold the water all in one place, so the waves actually rebound off of the concrete and come and hit you again, so it's actually really hard to take a breath without inhaling some water.
Well, that gives you the perfect shot of exactly where they are underneath the bridge. Might be that we possibly could have a 4 or 5 woman breakaway here, but we'll see, because they'll be out the water in about 80 meters time. Summer Cook in second behind Learmonth.
And we've got some of the sport's strongest cyclists all up in this top 5 or 6 here.
Beaugrand of France, currently racing in third. There aren't too many sports where you get as up close and personal as that to the best in the world.
Yeah, that's only a couple meters there between.
Yeah, try standing on a green that far away from Phil Mickelson when he's putting. I don't think that would work. Get some great photos as well from that range.
Oh, yeah, there is a separation there. So these guys are going to have to get organized and through transition really quickly if they want to keep that gap.
So 9 minutes 18 and change. They're out the water. Learmonth and Cook. No surprise about that. Beaugrand, great swim from her. There's Spivey, Lopez, and there's Flora. So she'll be pretty happy with that, I'd have thought. Oh, Vicky Holland, top swim.
Great swim from her. And there you have that gap. I think these athletes would be crazy not to utilize that, and you know that they're going to try their best to extend that.
Actually, that may have been my mistake. I think that's Georgia Brown, not Holland. I saw the British tri-suit there. Georgia Taylor Brown, who was superb in Leeds. A breakthrough race for her.
Yeah, she's obviously in great form, backing that up.
Rachel Klammer there, just getting underway. Hewitt 30 seconds back out the water. Stimson likewise. Joanna Brown, who we know is one of the real up-and-comers, maybe a bit further behind than she would like to be. Nikki Spierig 34 seconds adrift. Lindemann the same.
It's actually impressive from Nicola. She's right where she used to be out of the water, even when she was racing the circuit full time.
Danilova as we go further down the list. Ashley Gentle way back. That would be a big disappointment for her, because over this distance you're a minute or so behind out the water. You're really asking too much.
That's a pretty big gap to make up, and you can see here she's not made the main group, but she is an athlete that will ride her hardest until she makes it where she needs to go. So we can expect her to probably make it back into the main pack at least.
So Learmonth at the front of affairs. Let's just see how many we got in that group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of them, I reckon, including Flora Duffy.
I would have expected to see Flora at the front already. She might be saving her energy. We don't know with her current fitness. It could go either way. She might want to save her legs for the run, or does she want to, like we see here, potentially drill that bike ride?
Well, you look at those in that leading group and you think, okay, Summer Cook we know is a classy runner. Duffy potentially would fancy herself against any of them, I would think.
Normally, yes.
Injury notwithstanding. That was Vicky Holland, obviously, so it was Georgia Taylor Brown who was the second Brit out the water after Learmonth. Just a slight delay with the helmet from Vicky and Katie Zaferes.
That's a fantastic swim for Vicky.
Non-Stanford you saw just behind Vicky Holland there, of course, great friends, formerly housemates, not anymore, because Vicky now down in Bath in the West Country in England. Non still up in Leeds in Yorkshire.
Just as we expected, Flora at the front.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't really know any other way, and she's had so much success with that tactic of just laying it down from the very start. I guess it would be surprising if she did anything else.
Yeah, and she's in such great form generally that she can run the same speed off of that bike ride. I mean, she's in such great bike form that it doesn't seem to affect her run. She's just that strong. And she's brought the aero bars back to the sport. There was a while there where athletes were sort of skipping putting those on their bike, but Flora definitely puts those to use.
Just to outline the scenario at the top of the rankings, essentially there are 8 races in the season, and the triathletes can use their 5 best results plus the grand final. So 6 races in total count. She crashed on the bike in Abu Dhabi, didn't race in Leeds, so she has nowhere to go really. She has to score points effectively in all the remaining races, including this one, followed by the 2 races in Canada and then the grand final. So she's put pressure on herself, not her own fault, because obviously she had that injury that kept her out of Leeds, but when you know you can't afford to make a mistake, it must just play on your mind a little bit, especially when you're defending the world title.
It does add that element of pressure, but there are some athletes that...
Oh, straight away, Rachel Klammer down. She got up pretty quickly.
She did.
Just going to see if the bike's okay. The climber who famously stayed out of trouble in Abu Dhabi in the race that she won earlier in the season when all around her were...
Wow, amazing to get back on if she can get into that chase group.
What it looks like the...
No,
there's a problem with the bike, is there? Well, maybe okay. We'll wait and see.
That was extremely impressive from her to mentally gather yourself and get back up that quickly. That was really impressive.
And we have another casualty. Is that one of the Italians? This is another look at the climber going down. Again, no one near her, really.
It's hard to tell what happened there.
Looks to be pretty unscathed as well. And that's hard, those roads, when you fall on them.
She might be feeling that a little bit later with the adrenaline pumping.
Well, we'll keep you in touch. We'll see if we can pick up Rachel at some point later on, just to see if she is still okay with that bike.
It's really unfortunate because it's so impressive and sometimes rare to get yourself into that position. Athletes always strive for that, and so to lose it on something like that is really disappointing.
She's so rarely in the lead group as well. It must be so frustrating for her. Is Alice Beto in trouble? It was the Italian Beto. Oh, that's I think that's just superficial, but it's going to shock you, and I'm not sure whether the bike is good enough or well enough for her to continue either. Never cease to get drama in Hamburg. Doesn't matter what the weather conditions are, always something to talk about.
This is always an exciting race, putting on a show for these 250,000 spectators.
It's a great shot, isn't it? Not a spare seat in the stands, and hardly a spare place anywhere on the run course. And Sperrig was around about half a minute behind out the water. That remains the case after this lap is completed.
I think we've yet to see a shot where Flora isn't at the front since about the first minute of the bike ride.
I think there was probably one in 2006 in the Junior World Championships when you beat her. You'll have to share your secret with every other woman on the tour.
I don't really know what to say about that other than it was 12 years ago. I'd be certainly pleased to do that now.
It's in the history book. Duffy leading Learmonth, leading Taylor Brown and Spivey. Beaugrand from France, Lopez Brazil. So this half dozen with a decent advantage.
And they really need to get themselves organized and help Flora out a bit. I mean, it is really easy to just sit there and think, okay, well, it's the Flora train, we're going to just follow her.
And they've dropped Summer Cook. I was just going to say, Summer Cook just couldn't live with the pace there. We have seen that before, more than one occasion. Yeah,
that is an area that she needs to improve, and it is common for young athletes, especially coming from a swim run background. It is a big ask to throw them into an event like this and expect them to ride at the level of people like Flora Duffy, who've been doing it for the better of a decade.
Yeah, she pulled out of it. She was going to go into the mountain bike event, wasn't she, in the Commonwealth Games floor, and pulled out of it just because the course looked to, if she'd fallen, it might have all crashed, it would have been a problem, and she didn't want to jeopardize her WTS season. But it would have been fascinating to see, wouldn't it? It would have, and that's always going to be there for her. I think it would have been tough to risk that time in your career. People only get a short period of time generally to be the very best in the world, or you never know how long it's going to last, so you wouldn't want to jeopardize that for a sport that's not your current sport. I was going to ask you what you made of Gwen Jorgensen's decision to stop competing in triathlon and try and make the US marathon team for Tokyo, because I was a bit surprised. Yeah, I was as well. She's one of the older, or on the older end of the field. I know she was really keen to start a family, and I think it's that much more doable to do one sport and carry the responsibilities of being a mother. So I'm sure that played into her decision as well. Yeah, 32 now, Gwen. We wish her all the best, obviously, in her marathon career. Meanwhile, here, the leading group have got, the leading six are about half a minute ahead of the chasers, and that is significant. They've only been riding for 5 kilometers.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
And Cook now is right at the back of the chase. There's Rachel Klammer. So Klammer's done brilliantly, really, to get back into that chasing pack. She's now ahead of Cook.
She is. You don't often see that happen. It just shows her level of toughness and just mental toughness as well, just to get right back on.
And Rachel coming in 3rd place overall in the series. So any points that she can score obviously will be hugely valuable to her.
I'd be interested to see how Beaugrand does with this position coming off the bike, if they are able to hold a gap. We saw she had a really strong run in a team event in Nottingham, I believe.
She did, yes, she did. And actually, I've seen her perform well here in mixed team relay in Hamburg too.
Yeah, so she has shown that she has the capability on the run, and this might be her time to show her talents on the world stage.
Well, the other woman to look at, Georgia Taylor-Brown, who showed that she can run well in leads, and she's in this leading group of 6. I just wonder if we're going to see Flora, not yet, but maybe, I'm going to say penultimate lap possibly, decide to just break off on her own. We'll see.
Nothing would surprise me when it comes to her. I think she's definitely got the ability, and if she has any question in her run form, then she'll probably want to be in that position. And you can see how strung out the riders are, partly due to the narrow course, but also that just means that the pace is really rich.
So 4 laps to go. They've completed 2. They were around about half a minute clear when they came round on the previous lap, and it's exactly the same now. All you'd say is in that chasing group there are some terrific bikers, not least Nicola Spirig. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Spirig go to the front of that leading group at some point.
Yeah, I would expect to see that as well. It is a strength of hers, and if there's any time to use it, it's to make up that gap and give her a fighting chance. And there we see her in 2nd position with Ashley Gentle leading. Neither of those are surprising.
So Gentle's actually done well from being 50-odd seconds behind out the water to at the head of affairs of the chase group. And if she and the likes of Spirig and others can work well, they might yet put a dent in the lead that this leading group of 6 are enjoying at present. And unsurprising that we're seeing Duffy do so much of the work at the front here.
Yeah, it is. And, this is a long time for her to be at the front. Generally, you want to see shorter pulls, shorter turns at the front. And it looks like here people are either not able to go past Duffy because she's that strong, or they're just sort of riding on her coattails.
Well, as we say that, top marks Jessica Learmonth. And also Georgia Taylor-Brown as well. So for 2 Brits at the moment, giving Duffy a hand. And Spivey as well. "30 seconds behind them. The likes of Gentle, Spirig.
There's Spirig at the front. That looks like possibly Vicky Holland as well.
They've got an awful lot of work to do, though, because when you're only talking about a 20k bike, and they've had 8 of those roughly, it's just not much time to recover from any kind of a deficit.
No, especially with such strong runners in that front group. They do look to be fairly organized.
Yeah, Lopez at the moment is in pretty much nosebleed territory. We don't often see her in the lead group, especially a smallish lead group like this one. Haven't seen her at the front of it, mind you, but that's okay.
She's doing really well to hang on.
Yep, stay in touch.
Yep. Girls like Flora Duffy set a pace that for your average ITU racer is hard, even just to hang on inside that draft.
Well, the chasers are making inroads. 23 seconds now. It was 30 the last time they went through transition.
It looked a bit closer when they showed that turnaround view. I wasn't sure if that was the camera angle or not, but it does look like people like Ashley and Nicola are starting to reel them back in.
And if Flora gets that information, she might decide, okay, I need to take matters into my own hands here. She's back at the front now.
Yeah, because when you're a strong rider like that, sometimes when someone takes a pull, other than yourself, it's nice to have a little bit of a break, but sometimes it's almost a bit frustrating if it's not fast enough. And she might say, I don't need you guys. I'm going to head off on my own.
Jodie Stimpson having a go at the front there of that chasing group. Jodie's had a little bit of an in-and-out season so far. She was very unlucky in lead. She was doing some great work on the bike and got a puncture at a bad moment. Well, it's never a good moment for a puncture, but that cost her a chance.
Yeah, she said that this race is actually the first time that she's felt truly confident in both her health, she's injury-free, and her fitness. So I'm interested to see how she runs here today.
Spivey leads them round the corner. Lopez still at the back. Two Brits sandwiched in the middle with Duffy. So this is always the key point, really, to see what the time difference is between the leaders and the chasing pack. They're not in sight yet as they come through to mark the halfway point in the bike. Another great performance so far from Georgia Taylor-Brown. Spivey, excellent. Duffy, as we expected. Beaugrand, great for her. Lopez in uncharted waters.
Here we have Nicola.
Here's the Spirig train. Well, actually, they got a few seconds back, the leaders now. It's 23 seconds.
So many times we've seen Nicola just rip the legs off the athletes trying to hang on to her wheel, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her try and bridge the gap on her own.
Katie Zaferes, the current series leader in that chasing group, along with Hewitt.
I've just seen Joanna Brown and Charlotte McShane a little bit behind the chase group there on their own. I'm not sure if there was some sort of issue there or if they were ever in the lead or the main pack to begin with.
Duffy at the head of affairs again, where we're so used to seeing her. Spivey gesturing there. Maybe someone wants to take over. I don't think she wanted it to be her, actually, but it looks like it might have to be. Yeah, I think you could maybe just hear that. Someone give us a hand here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of communication happening. It means some of the athletes are obviously frustrated with how things are moving within the pack.
And just to get this, I mean, there's absolutely no compulsion from the go at the front. It's completely up to them. It's just kind of frowned upon by the aggressive athletes, the Duffys, and in this case the Spiveys, who think everyone should, you know, be fair-handed about it and take a turn at the front.
Yeah, they are sort of unwritten rules within the field. You know, it's every athlete's right to sit on.
I have a question for you about this, because we have seen in the past Alistair Brownlee, when he's inviting those in his lead group to take a turn, and sometimes Alistair uses some agricultural language. Now, does that happen in the women's races, or are you lot just too ladylike to do?
Not often. You hear some aggressive words sometimes, not quite to the extent of
things you'd be okay to say in front of your mother.
I guess so. Yeah, just maybe in a tone that you wouldn't use with your mother.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the athletes in the pack as well. I mean, I don't think you hear that kind of thing outside of maybe Alistair himself.
I think there were a few others who are never shy to use a few choice words.
If it whatever works, I guess.
I guess it does. Rachel Klammer, who did so well after that crash, she's at the back of that chasing group, but still, with the way that she runs, in a position where she can earn decent points. The gap has been unchanged for about the last 5 or 6 minutes, around about 24, 25 seconds. Lindemann, the local hope, is right in the middle of that chase pack, gentle towards the front of it, along with Spirig and Holland, the last we saw. Meanwhile, back with the lead group, guess who at the front?
No surprise there. The only surprise for me, anyways, is that she's still with this group.
Yeah, well, we saw her in Bermuda ride solo for the entire course, and that was an Olympic distance race. We've seen her. I saw her ride solo in Cape Town a couple of years back in a sprint race. So we know she's not afraid to do it.
Oh, I thought she was making her move there. She definitely is capable of that, and I still think that we may see that at some point.
Spirig pushing the chase group as hard as she can.
It's been Spirig and gentle that entire time, with Jody there ready to lend a helping hand when they need.
And Klammer still hanging on. Very fortunate in some ways that the bike didn't take some kind of a serious knock when she had that crash, but huge spirit to get back on so quickly.
So impressive. And she doesn't seem to be showing any signs of, like, she slid on that pavement for a while, and I can't see any visible injuries.
I don't know what it is. Some athletes just fall better than others. I don't think you can't really practice it. I don't think it's just
it's a talent.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw 2 athletes in a row go down on that exact same place. So, and one in the men's race as well, I think. So there might be something happening with that corner.
So 2 laps to go then as they come through transition. And Flora, this is about the kind of time I wouldn't be surprised. There you go.
She already has a gap there.
There it is. Now, can the other 5 stay with her or not?
It's a great place to do that breakaway there with the crowd supporting her. I think it might have been a little easier, though, if she'd done it around some corners, because she does have that bike handling ability that's so much above the other athletes that she'll want to utilize that.
Yeah, well, I said, didn't I reckon about a couple of laps, and that's what's happened. And when we've seen so often in the past when Duffy's made the break, they just haven't been able to go with her. So the gap now is down to about 20 seconds. And you would think if Duffy gets away and the likes of Spirig, Gentle, Stimson and others keep pushing that chase group, then the 5 between Duffy and the chase group could be vulnerable to being caught.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Without Flora, that group of 5 is very vulnerable.
Just purely from a curiosity point of view, you'd love to watch Spirig on the run if she's going to be behind Duffy, but if she's vaguely close to everyone else, is there a possibility of a medal the way that she runs? She's so fit.
Yeah, we can never count her out. She's had so many surprise performances, including her silver medal at the Olympics. We hadn't seen much of her in the entire 4 years between when she won in London, and I don't know how many athletes expected her to be right in that in the hunt for the gold until the very last second.
It's still my favourite moment of that race, when she and Gwen Jorgensen were racing together on the run, and Spirig was saying to Gwen, like, you know, you've done it all, and Gwen was kind of saying, no, you're a mum. That was the, you know, I just thought that was so great.
That is very unique. I think, like we've talked about before, the camaraderie in our sport is seems to be second to none, and to hear an exchange like that during an Olympic event is pretty unprecedented.
Seems to be a running theme at the moment of professional sportswomen coming back to the top after having a child. Serena Williams obviously front and centre at the moment with Wimbledon going on, getting to the final. 5.5 kilometres left on the bikes, and it looks as though Flora's little getaway hasn't been successful, because there are still 6 there.
Yeah, she did do it on a bit of a straightaway, which can be a harder way to make that break, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her make a couple attempts until it finally sticks. Well, Just as I say that, there's her second attempt.
There she goes. So they've caught up to her once, and now she's asking the likes of Spivey and Lopez and Learmonth and Taylor Brown another question.
And I wonder just how hard she's sprinting, because you're not seeing any of these athletes out of the saddle, which you would expect to see if they were giving 100%.
Beaugrand's the other, I think, really interesting triathlete in this group of 6, because we know she runs well. And as things stand, she's put herself in with a serious chance of getting on the podium for the first time in her career.
She has. It will be really interesting to see these guys go head-to-head.
Spivey as well, who has previously got on a podium. I think she, from memory, she got on the podium in Edmonton. Taylor's, no, that was Taylor. I get my Taylors mixed up. That was Taylor Neer.
There's too many talented Americans to keep track. We'll see if it's the camera angle, but to me it looks like the chase group has put a bit of a dent in the gap again.
That's Jody trying to drive it again. One thing about Jody Stimpson, you can never accuse her of not being a totally selfless triathlete, especially on the bike. 17 seconds the gap. The problem is the bike's only another, what, 4.5 kilometers. Lopez really struggling at the back, trying to hang on.
She looks like she's in trouble, but she's hanging in there. And you wonder how much time these athletes have to take on nutrition and hydration when the pace is this high and the stakes are also that high. You know, they're chasing. Luckily, the temperatures aren't too hot today, so it's not as crucial.
Spierig and Stimpson at the head of that chasing group. Duffy at the head of affairs. And she comes round towards transition for the final time. And I think if you said to Flora, okay, coming back from injury, we'll give you a 15-20 second lead at the bell on the bike with only 5 other runners. Well, hello, they're closing. Surely that's less than 15 seconds.
It definitely looks that way. And you can see the grimace on Flora's face. She's not giving it away.
So the 6 are still together. The big question is, what is the gap back to the pack? The likes of Spierig, Stimpson, Gentle, and a host of others down to 13 seconds now. This is going to test Flora's fitness on the run for sure.
This is a great position for Ashley Gentle. We might just get to see that battle that we were hoping for.
Non-Stanford, we shouldn't forget how good a runner she is and when she's on top form.
Yes, and I've heard that she's back in good form again.
I think the medal that she got in Yokohama was a big game changer for her. She'd been off the podium for so long.
Yeah, like we talked about in the men's race, that's a big mental boost and confidence boost to know that she can be back in that position.
Well, I think now, just looking at that shot, that Flora said, okay, all right, I've tried a couple of times, hasn't worked, but it's fine. I'm sitting in the leading group of 6, going to have some kind of a lead, albeit maybe a small one now over the chasing pack. So plan B, take my chances on the run.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about our sport. You're always having to make tactical decisions on the fly. And, you know, coming into the last lap of the bike, it's too late for her to be on her own to make any sort of significant gap. So she's thought to herself, right, I'm going to rest my legs a little bit because I'm going to have to run against these girls.
Yeah, and that in itself is going to be worth watching. Only 2.5 kilometers to go. Spivey will be fancying herself for a podium position as well. I haven't got any immediate stats to hand about Lopez's running ability. My instinct is to say it might be a bit tough for her, but we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unknown. We haven't seen too much of her name at the forefront of these events.
Well, they're almost going to come together here. You can see the chasers in behind. So huge kudos to Spierig, Stimpson and Gentle, who it's pretty much been those 3 when we've seen shots that have been driving that chase pack.
Yeah, and I mean, all 3 of those girls are almost as strong as Flora herself. So it is a big ask to ask Flora to ride against 3 women nearly as strong as her working together and sharing that load.
Well, this is absolutely fascinating. We've got Flora Duffy, who's been running superbly before she got injured. We've got Spirig, who we know is great out on the run. We've got non-Stanford, Ashley Gentle, and others. I mean, Klammer's going to be in that, and she's not the worst runner either. We've seen that so many times over the years.
Wouldn't that be an amazing turn of events? From laying on the pavement to the podium.
That would be incredible. So Flora and her 5 fellow leaders for most of this bike have now been caught. And Spirig, quite literally, centre of your screen in the red tri-suit, has the double world champion in her sights.
Just like the men's race, this event has been non-stop action and changing of events.
And the other thing we should remember is, of course, Katie Zaferes is in this group now. She came in as the series leader, so the fact that they've caught on, arguably now she's going to get more points than it was looking like she was going to get about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, this race is wide open. We've listed a number of athletes that have a legitimate chance at the podium, and there's more that we haven't even mentioned. We haven't talked about Kirsten Kasper. I think she's into that group as well, isn't she?
I believe Kasper is in that group. I'm not sure about Summer Cook, because Cook obviously is a top class. We saw Cook dropped off right at the back of the...
Yeah, she looked to be in danger earlier in the ride. I'm not sure if she hung in there.
See Klammer just towards the back of the group. Stimpson on the left.
And I'm wondering if that crash has shook a little bit of Rachel's confidence. It is hard to get up after a crash and take those corners aggressively again.
It was really interesting what she told me after she won the race in Abu Dhabi, where so many riders went down because of the wet surface. And she said she saw that and she kind of deliberately went over safe just because she thought, look, you know, I don't have to get involved in this. I'll just corner very sensibly, and of course it paid off for her. But now, when it's perfectly dry conditions and she's had that little spill, it would be only natural, you would imagine, if she was just being a little cautious. But she's done great to be in the position she's in, and Nicola Spirig is going to lead them into transition by the looks of things.
That's where we're used to seeing Nicola Spirig. Called up onto the pontoon last, but off the bike first.
The other thing is, I'm not sure, but I can't see Vicky Holland in that leading group. We'll get the names momentarily when they come through. Out the shoes. Bit of experience from Spirig, right at the front. No chance of any kind of issues in transition. Stimpson on the right-hand side of your screen, Spivey. Taylor Brown.
Great effort from Natalie Van Coverdon. We saw her with a podium earlier this year. We know she's in good form.
So Kasper is there, Stanford is there. Andrea Hewitt also. Klammer and Lopez. Lindemann, the local hope. Taylor Knibb. I think there must have been some kind of an issue with Vicky Holland somewhere down the line.
Yeah, because she was in that chasing pack at the beginning there.
Spirig and Stimpson. This is a blast from the past out front.
Isn't it? Wow, that's a statement right there from Nicola. That's where she's used to being, though. She's comfortable in that position. We haven't seen Ashley come through yet, and she must have had... Oh, here she comes, just on Flora's shoulder. Oh, well, that's Natalie Van Coverdon, actually.
Yeah, that is Van Coverdon.
Fantastic start to the run.
Well, this is aggressive, really aggressive from Jodie Stimpson, who's had such a hard season with injuries, and she's trying to take it out really hard at the front. Zaferes in kind of middle position. There's non-Stanford just going through.
It's still early. These athletes are working out their positions after, you know, kind of the jumbling through transition, but it is a bit of a different order than I would have expected. We've got Beaugrand of France taking the lead here. So
Cassandre Beaugrand out front where I'm sure she didn't expect to be.
She's looking so calm, cool, and
Isn't she
collected.
just?
It's almost reminding me of Gwen Jorgensen's loping stride there, out onto the front.
And Flora just gently, gradually gaining ground on Spirig and Stimpson. So Flora currently in 4th place, and it looks like Vancouver and back in 5th.
Yeah, so often you see these young athletes with the ability to run fast over a short distance, and we've seen that with her in the team event over the extra short mile run. But now we're seeing it today over 5,000 meters.
Well, I don't think anyone could have predicted this at the moment. Beaugrand out in front and looking absolutely serene, you'd have to say at the moment, albeit we're only less than a kilometre in to the 5K run, but still.
I mean, she doesn't look to be anywhere close to trouble. With how relaxed she looks there, you'd be hard-pressed to think that she could get herself into any issues of starting out too hard, or it doesn't even look like she's breathing.
Well, I hope she is. The other thing is she hasn't looked back once. She hasn't thought, oh, how far am I ahead? Who's behind me? None of that.
No, that's some confidence right there. And look at the gap that she's already put on those.
Look at this. Wow. Well, we've had a few upsets this season on the WTS Tour, notably the Norwegian clean sweep in Bermuda in the men's side, but Beaugrand here is threatening a serious upset.
Yeah, considering how little distance they've covered, the amount that she's put on some class runners is really, really impressive.
Well, she certainly laid down the gauntlet here, and have any of her rivals or anything to try and narrow that gap. It doesn't look like it at the moment.
No,
Stimpson and Duffy still racing in behind with Spirig.
I'm not sure they're going to know what to do with her. I don't think many of these athletes would have been expecting to see this from her.
"21 years of age."
The rest of the group is really tightly bunched.
She was in that French team in the relay in Nottingham, the mixed team relay, and she actually had the fastest time across all 3 disciplines of any woman in that race. Obviously Duffy wasn't in that, but still.
Yeah, I saw that. She was able to run away from Katie Zaferes, I'm pretty sure, quite easily. And I think a lot of people just chalk that up to being, well, it's a mile run, but I think we're seeing here that she's got more than that in her.
Trained by her father, Ludwig.
I'm having deja vu here. It's just with a French outfit instead of a U.S. outfit.
Yeah, indeed. She has been a national youth champion.
Jodie's looking really calm as well. She's got good turnover. Her face is relaxed.
Silver medal at the Junior World Championships in Edmonton back in 2014. So she has been on the radar, but this is a different level. And just look how far clear she is. Absolutely astonishing.
There's no one in sight, barely.
She actually won an Olympic youth race over 1,500 meters a few years ago.
I thought she had a running background.
Yeah.
She definitely looks the part in how smooth she runs and how composed she is.
She set youth records at 1,500 meters and 10,000 meters. How versatile is that? And she runs cross country too.
Wow, so if she's that strong over 10,000 meters against pure runners, then you have to believe that she's going to be able to hold this.
Ron Stanford running alongside Kirsten Casper. the most impressive sports people in any sport are the ones where it doesn't look like there's any effort. And just look at that.
There's no emotion on her face there, just...
It looks like she's going for a gentle Sunday morning jog, doesn't it?
It does, and you can see her every now and then shaking out her arms, keeping her shoulders relaxed. That's the common difference between a triathlon runner and a runner is that we tend to carry a lot more tightness in our shoulders. You can see there she's shaking that off.
Katie Zaferes just never ceases to impress, does she? She is so tough.
So consistent.
And from a position earlier where it looked like she would struggle to score that many points, she's put herself in a position where, if anything, she might increase her lead at the top of the standings.
She has. You can never count her out. And I'm really happy to see Jody back up in this sort of position. She said she was ready for it, and she certainly delivered.
And you mentioned, Flora, there was a slight issue with the injury. She's still 5th or 6th, but, it's obviously not the same Flora we're used to seeing.
It's not, and that speaks to the level of this women's field. I think there's no room for any sort of mishap or any miss in training, any lack of health. It really just, there's nowhere to hide on these kind of courses.
Well, Beaugrand takes the bell, and she is way clear of the likes of Stimpson, Zaferes, Spirig, Spivey and Van Koeveren behind them. Looks like Non-Stanford moving through the field a little bit too. With Taylor Brown. Casper just a little bit behind those two Brits.
I'm wondering if Nicola might surprise herself. Earlier this week she was saying, I haven't trained like normal. We'll just see. And I think, deep down she must have that confidence that she can always pull something out of the hat, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's a little bit shocked herself to be running where she is.
I guess the other thing as well about Nicola Spirig, she's such a natural competitor.
She is.
Even if she hasn't done the requisite normal amount of training, once the situation presents itself, hang on, I can, not about necessarily getting a medal, but I can actually get a top 5, a top 10, and anything like that would be a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah.
Zaferes and Stimpson, with Spirig hanging tough, that's 2nd, 3rd and 4th at the moment, and those 3, with 2 kilometres to go, have opened up a little gap over, I think it's Non-Stanford actually running in behind them.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Ashley Gentle anywhere in our view just yet. Maybe she burned a little bit too many matches on the bike. That's not very characteristic of her.
They were the 2 that kind of disappeared, Gentle and Holland. We unless there have been issues, I'm sure there must have been, because not see those 2 in the top 10 or 15 would be a major surprise.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't seem right, but we've got a good race on our hands here. It's always extra exciting when you have a 3-way sprint finish for 3 positions that one of them doesn't include a medal. That always makes people push that much harder. They're trying to get onto that podium, not decide which place they get on the podium.
Stimpson, Zaferes, Spirig with Stanford coming. Lindemann also moving up in the field. That'll impress the home crowd. Casper just in behind her. There's going to be a mega bum fight here for the minor medals, Taylor Brown at the back of that pack, and Duffy clearly not 100% fit.
No, this isn't the Flora we saw earlier this season and all of last season. But in saying that, it's quite impressive that she's this close, having only just done her first run a number of days ago.
And I mentioned, she can't afford not to score points at any races, including this one. So, if she comes in whatever, 10th, 12th, she's still going to score points, and she has to go again in a fortnight. It's only a fortnight till Edmonton. Yeah,
she can't let any place go. She's got to fight for every position that she can.
Lindemann comes to the party into 2nd place now.
It's so great to see this. You see this so many times, athletes rising to the occasion on their home country event. We saw that in Leeds with Vicky Holland just last event. And she got a podium here last year, so this is familiar territory for her.
It's 30 seconds now, the gap, and it's growing all the time. The Stimson doesn't, I think, even by her own admission, have too much of a sprint finish. It might be tough for her. We haven't seen Jodie on the podium since Abu Dhabi at the start of last season, when she just got out-sprinted by Andrea Hewitt.
Yeah, she has had a rough go with injuries, and like we talked about earlier, it is a bit of a knock to the confidence. But from speaking to her earlier this week, she seems to be mentally back on form as well as physically. And look, she looks exactly the same as she did in the first kilometer. Not showing any signs of any sort of discomfort.
It's just an incredible display of running, isn't it? She's just run away from a field that's included some of the best runners in the sport.
Yeah, that's an art form right there that we're watching. We need a split screen in order to see all the athletes. She's so far ahead.
You certainly need a high-powered telescope. That's for sure.
Great effort from Natalie Van Koeverden hanging in there.
Yeah, Van Koeverden ran well in Abu Dhabi, I seem to remember as well. Lindemann currently in the silver medal position. She got a bronze here 12 months ago. Chance to go one better. And Katie Zaferes right on the premises still. Ahead of Jodie Stimpson now. Then comes Casper. Then Spirig and non-Stanford.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Nicola's slowly losing contact there. It looks like one by one.
It wouldn't be a massive surprise, really, would it? I mean, it would be ridiculous for her to come back after this time off for this kind of event and get on the podium with all these youngsters around.
It would, but, I mean, if anyone could, it would be Nicola.
Well, looks like Lindemann and Zaferes have got themselves, there you go, a little bit of a gap. Not as big of a gap as there is between Beaugrand and the rest.
Wow, I think we might be seeing just the beginning of a string of events like this for her. Some athletes get one off, you know, it might be a lucky event, but this looks to be pure dominance here.
So Lindemann currently in silver medal position, just ahead of Katie Zaferes, the series leader. And they look to have a little bit of a gap now on Stimpson and Stanford, who's coming through strongly, with Spirig and Casper. That is the battle for silver and bronze, and it may well be close. We saw Katie just out-sprinted by Vicky Holland in Bermuda. But she's so tough, you just never know. Stanford's going to score good points today. Looks like she might get ahead of Kirsten Casper. No one's going to get ahead of her, though.
That's just amazing. Her stride, her facial expression, nothing has moved. Nothing has changed since the very beginning of this run.
She is 200 meters away from a breakthrough day in her pretty much fledgling career as a triathlete. Lindemann trying to put the hammer down to Zaferes and make sure she gets the silver. I think Zaferes looks fairly safe in bronze at the moment. Stanford, not sure can give much more, but up front, Cassandre Beaugrand onto the blue carpet. She has just run away from the field. It's one of the biggest upsets we've ever seen in WTS history on the women's side, and she can't believe it herself. What a victory, and by a distance. 58.06, so inside an hour. And Lindemann is going to hold off Zaferes by the look of it. The crowd absolutely love it for the second year in succession. It looks like the young German's going to get on the podium. Onto the blue carpet. Zaferes is chasing gamely. I'm not sure she's going to get there. She's still coming, though, and keeping Lindemann honest. But the German will get there for second. Zaferes another podium, and she keeps her lead in the overall series rankings. The Olympic champion from London, Nikki Spierig, a great fourth from her.
What a close finish that was. You could see the emotion on Beaugrand's face. You can still see it there. She can't believe it. And like I said before, I think this is just the beginning for her. Great effort from Lindemann on home soil. To repeat podium 2 years in a row is really impressive. What a feeling that must be. Flora Duffy's come in there, 10th place, a little further back than she's used to. Oh, and look at this, a 4-way sprint finish. It looks like Klammer might take it. What a tough girl. An effort from her. Get up off the pavement and sprint into the top 15. It was really impressive. Jodie Stimpson should be pleased with that effort today. She's back from injury, proving form. Cassandra doesn't even look like she's put out any effort. She's hardly breathing. The German fans will be so pleased to have their champion athlete on the podium here today. And Vicky Holland has come across the line. I'd be interested to hear what's happened to her on the bike. Untouchable, this young French athlete. What a run from her. She looks just like one of our greatest former champions and current Olympic gold medalist, Gwen Jorgensen. It's always great to see the emotion on athletes' face when you know just how much it means to them. They put in so much hard work, and to be rewarded in this fashion.
Cassandra, well done. Where did that result come from? Because you surely couldn't have thought this morning that you had a real chance to win this race.
Yeah, I can't realize, and I'm so happy. Last year I have a crash, and today it's a national day and my boyfriend's birthday, so I'm very happy to win today.
It looked like when you crossed the finish line, you couldn't believe it yourself.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I can't realize wow.
How difficult for someone like you who comes from a running background to get proficient enough at swimming and biking to be able to compete with the best triathletes in the world?
I know I'm not very good at the bike, but I try to push, and maybe one day I can push very hard on the bike. I hope.
Well, you've done fantastically today. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well done.
And now we're going to hear from Laura Lindemann with Trevor down at the finish.
Laura, well done. From where you were after the swim and the bike, you must be thrilled, aren't you, with second place?
Yes, I'm very happy with the second place, and I didn't expect it at all after the swim. And after the bike, I had such a bad transition. and then I just run for my life, and I'm very happy with the place, yes.
And how much did the crowd here help you? Because every time you came through transition on the bike or on the run, they were just going absolutely mad.
Yes, it's amazing. The crowd is awesome, and I really like to race here in Hamburg, the home crowd, and it's like I'm flying on the course with the cheer of the crowd.
Can I just ask you, were you surprised how far ahead of you Cassandre was? Because she just ran away from the rest of the field.
Yes, Cassandre was amazing. I raced with her as a junior, and mostly I won against her, and now I see her winning a World Triathlon Series race, and I'm very, very happy for her because she's also my friend, and yes, I'm very happy for her, yeah.
Well, it was a great 1-2 for you today. Well done today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So looking at the final results, we've got the upset of the day, Cassandre Beaugrand, winning in dominating fashion, 30 seconds ahead of crowd favorite Laura Lindemann, and the ever-consistent Katie Zaferes just behind. Our Olympic champion from 2012, the silver medalist in Rio 2016, another surprise of the day in 4th place. And now we're actually going to hear from Katie with Trevor down below.
Katie, another day at the office, another podium. Consistency is becoming your middle name, isn't it?
I'm so excited to come away with a podium in that race. I mean, when I came out of the water, I was a bit further behind than I like to be, so to end up on the podium again is a relief, kind of.
It was a strange kind of race, wasn't it? Because we had the breakaway on the bike, and then you guys caught them with maybe a lap to go or just a little bit less, and kind of no one really knew what was going to happen on the run. It was an odd race for a sprint particularly.
Yeah, I mean, the second group, the group I was in, was super motivated to catch that front pack, and I think we did a really good job with all the strong riders, and everyone took different things better than others. So like the cornering was actually, like, other people were good at it, the straight, some people were the strongest, so trading off for that was able to catch the front group.
And it just shows what an unpredictable sport this is, that we get a 21-year-old running away from the field and winning by 40 seconds.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, when I saw Cassandre go, I mean, I would like to say that we could close that gap, but it didn't seem like it was getting any closer to her.
Only 3 races to go. You're still top of the standings. You must be thinking, you know what, I could win this thing.
I mean, it's in my mind, and I hope that my 3rd place finish might be my lowest finish. I hope to go up from here for the next few races, so we'll see.
Hope to see you in Edmonton.
Yes, you will.
Thanks, Katie. Well done.
Thank you.
Grab a jacket for now.
Oh, yeah.
Just grab a jacket just while we're waiting, because they might do a long She stay here, and you go. I'll give it.
Bit of hustle and bustle here as the athletes get ready for the podium. This is not familiar territory for Cassandre.
Yeah, I think it wasn't just her that was surprised at what she'd done. I think everybody else was, really, and you know, you can't blame them. But it was just at this kind of point, and she finally realised, what on earth have I done here? I've just won a WTS race by, you know, the proverbial mile.
Yeah, it's always so great to see the emotion from athletes like that when you get a visual of just how much it means to them.
And she will never, ever forget this day if she lives to be 100.
Certainly not.
Well, let's just recap what we've just seen, because it was, I think, one of the strangest races, especially for a sprint, where we had a bike breakaway, they got caught. It was almost impossible to pick a winner. And in the end, we had one of the biggest shocks we've ever seen on the tour. Just about perfect conditions, really. It stayed dry. The weathermen promised us that it would. And unlike the men, it was a clean start off the pontoon for the 56 women taking their chance. Usual suspects really in the water. Jess Learmonth, we would expect her to come out first, along with the likes of Summer Cook. Beaugrand from France was up there early, so was Spivey. But it didn't take long for there to be a breakaway of 6. No surprise, Flora Duffy was in that group. Nicola Spirik heading a chase group, trying to hunt them down, along with the likes of Jodie Stimpson and Ashley Gentle. And by the time they get off the bikes, they were pretty much all together. And after that, it was quite simply the Cassandre Beaugrand show. She ran away from a field including the likes of Stimpson, Zaferes, Spirig, Stanford, Gentle, and won by half a minute. And I think the expression on her face shows you she couldn't believe it either. I often think, Kirsten, that the hardest race for a triathlete who's sprung a major surprise like we've seen today is the next race. Remember when Summer Cook won in Edmonton? It kind of, you've set a standard, it's very hard to keep up to, especially when you're so young.
That's right, yeah. And I think it does add that element of pressure, but at the same time, it has opened her eyes and given her that belief in herself, so we could see anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the
And Lindemann as well, obviously absolutely delighted with her podium here. Said she didn't really expect it after the start she had in the water.
Yeah, we're seeing some younger athletes at the forefront of these fields.
Well, we have seen a few shocks this season. I wouldn't call Katie Zaferes getting on the podium a shock, because she has been absolute consistency personified.
She has, and that's why she's in the position that she is. She's holding that first place.
And absolutely thoroughly deserves to be. She had that bike crash in Abu Dhabi, and since then she's gone third, second, third, third.
Presenting flowers will be Andy Gorter, Senator for Sports of the City of Hamburg.
Maybe Katie can give these girls some podium etiquette. She surely knows what's going on here.
Yeah, she'll be delighted with that. She's so popular on tour, Katie. And she now has a genuine chance to win this title.
And one of the most down-to-earth, friendly athletes on the circuit.
In second place, representing Germany, Laura Lindemann.
Second time she's been on the podium here. Third last year. Improved on it this time. Terrific run from Lindemann too, considering who she was up against.
She definitely knows how to put on a show at home.
That is for sure. And she'll be absolutely delighted with the silver medal.
And in first place, representing France, Cassandre Beaugrand.
Yeah, it's just a fairy tale, really. Makes you wonder also, they might have a pretty useful team tomorrow in the relay with the likes of Vincent Louis and others.
Well, yeah, on the men's side, you've got a number of competitive men. And they've always done well in the relays in the past.
Yeah, they were winners in 2015, I think.
And a silver this year, I think, as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the national anthem of France.
She's got to be on cloud 9 right now.
So the series leader trophy will be presented to Katie Zaferes, who will have extended her advantage at the top.
Representing United States, Katie Zaferes.
And considering that she didn't finish the first race, there was that great story when she woke up in hospital in Abu Dhabi, and the first question to her husband and doctors was, did I win? Usually it's, where am I, what happened? No, did I win? Well, she didn't win that day, but she might end up winning the overall series in a few months' time. She certainly put herself in pole position too. You see, this is good knowledge. Take your shoes off before
They're getting ready.
pouring beer over everybody else.
Ready for the beer shower. I think that's a new tradition.
They're so ladylike. They're going to... Oh, now, okay. I was going to say, yeah. Sort it out.
Just start friendly.
What a day. What a day for Cassandre. Absolutely incredible. So let's see exactly where today's result leaves us in terms of the overall series rankings. We know Katie's still at the top, and that lead now is significant. Look at that. That's not far short of 900 points. Klammer moves up to second, and after what happened to her with that crash, that is phenomenal too. Vicky Holland is in third now. We'll have to find out at some point what happened to Vicky today. Flora, who was in fourth before start of play, remains there. And Lindemann moves up to sixth place overall. Well, if you're hungry for some more action, you only have to wait a couple of weeks, because we reconvene for the next event in Edmonton, Canada. It's another sprint race. And if you remember from last year, it was Flora Duffy who came out on top. Although once again, she was pushed all the way by a couple of Americans, Taylor Knibb and the ever-present Katie Zaferes. They couldn't live with Flora, though. Friday, July the 27th is the date. However, you only have to wait less than 24 hours for more action from Hamburg. It's the World Mixed Relay Championships. And remember, this is now an Olympic event. It'll be debuting in Tokyo in a couple of years' time. And we've seen 12 different nations get on the podium since we started this back in 2009. The Americans always hard to beat. The Brits too. The French, the Aussies. Join us tomorrow for all of that. What a story, though, today. Incredible. Katie Zaferes, consistent as ever, increases her lead at the top of the overall standings. Laura Lindemann delights the locals in second, and Cassandre Beaugrand, the shot winner of the WTS women's event from Hamburg. Hope you've enjoyed it. From me, Trevor Harris, from Kirsten Sweetland, our whole outside broadcast crew. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This is what you want to see.
Absolutely stunning.
What an incredible race!
It is unbelievable.